Good morning, my name is Olga Lucia. Could you tell me your full name, please?
Nicolás Aguilar Ahumada.
And what shall I call you?
You can call me Nicolás.
Okay, now in this first part of the exam, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's talk about free time. What do you enjoy doing in your free time?
Well, I like to play video games in my computer. Also, I like to doing sports. Also, I like to train in my flight simulator. I like the airplanes. It's one of my biggest hobbies.
How much time do you have each week for doing these things?
Normally, I spend the night by playing, sometimes from 9 to 10. But it depends if I have the time and the activities from university and also from work that I have to do.
Why do you like doing these activities?
I like doing these activities because I think that it's necessary, because not everything has to be part of your job. You have to look for something that allows you to think about something else. So I think that that's the reason why I like it.
How did you start doing this activity at first?
Maybe when I was a child, I started because playing video games gives you that moment where you can do something different, and I started, I think, when I was a child.
Let's move on and talk about being on time for appointments. Is being late acceptable in your culture?
I think that for Colombians it's very common to be late. We are not as strict with that as another culture such as Americans, maybe, but I think that in specific parts of our culture it's very important to be for don't be late in an appointment.
Are you ever late for appointments?
Sometimes in the past I had a few bad experience where I was late, so by those experience I learned that it was very important to be a person who organized correctly his job.
What type of excuse do you think are alright for lateness?
In our culture, I think that it's very common the traffic. Most of people use the traffic as an excuse to say that they are late, but I think that it's not correct, because you have to take that into account at the moment to go to an appointment.
How do you feel when someone is late for an appointment with you?
I don't like it because I always try to be to use the correct time, and I think that it's not a good presentation if you are trying to knowing someone. So it's not good for me. It's not a good aspect.
Now let's move on the second part of the exam. I'm going to give you a topic, and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 or 2 minutes. Before you start, you will have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say.
Okay.
You can make some notes if you want. Do you understand?
Yes.
I would like you to describe a beautiful place in your country.
Okay. Okay, I am ready.
All right. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please?
Okay, I can start. Okay, the place that I would like to describe it's Bogota. I think that it's not common because Colombia is described as a nature country, but I think that the place that I enjoy the most is Bogota because it has a lot of cultural things that we have to take it into account. Also, it's the place where I have a lot of things to do. I like to go out and shopping. Also, there are a lot of activities if you want to go to sports, if you like to go to parks, if you like to share with your family or your friends. I think that Bogota has most of the different spaces where you can develop those activities. Also, I think that the center of the city is a place that I enjoy a lot because its architecture is very fascinating. I was in Spain, in Spain, so the architecture was very similar, so I liked a lot. Also, because when I was a child, I used to go a lot to the center of Bogota, and I liked the food. I think that it's another thing that I loved the most about Bogota. The food is spectacular. I am from Bogota, but I think that from people to people that it's not from Bogota, they also would like to enjoy our food. Mm, I also think that Montserrat is one of the biggest points of our city. It's a place that you have to visit, that you must visit if you come to our country because it has everything. It has a spectacular view, the church, and also the food that you can eat there. It's spectacular. And finally, in Bogota, we had a lot of museums where we can visit and learn about our culture, our different moments in our history. And I think that it's a visit that it's obligated for everyone who lives in Colombia and also from people that comes to our country and would like to know about us and also know about the people that lives inside the country.
Thank you. Would you like to go there in the future?
Yes, but I live in Bogota, so it's of course I like to be in here.
Now, we have been talking about a place you have recently visited,
Mm-hmm.
and I would like to ask you some more general questions related to the topic. First of all, let's talk about places and tourism. Why do you think people like to travel to different places in their free time?
Because as I described in the first part of our interview, I think that it's important that you have activities where you can do something different than your job. So traveling is one of those things because you can learn about different cultures. Also, you can look for some new things to do, and by traveling, I think that it's a good tool where you can achieve that goal.
How do you see tourism changing in your country in the future?
I hope that it changes for better because our country is trying to evolve from our past, and it is important to us to bring the tourism as a way to improve our outcomes. So I believe that it's very important, and I hope that in the future it may be the key for overcome our situations.
Why is it important to protect the countryside?
I think that it's important because it's the most important thing that we have for tourism in this moment. Colombia has a lot to bring to the world, so it is important to protect that specific parts.
In what ways is the countryside endangering your country?
In a lot of ways, because you know that the economical activities deploys all kind of things to harm our country. So I think that there are a lot of ways where we can affect that countryside.
Why are, why are historic buildings and monuments important to a city?
I think that it's because it brings you the memories, not only the memories about what happened and what they represent, but also because normally these buildings remain in time for a long time, so it's very common that you come again to those monuments and remember when you were a child and you visit for the first time. So I think that it's a common sense that we have, and they must be protected because of that.
Thank you. That is the end of the speaking test.
Okay.